Oh.
All right, guys. So what do y'all want to talk about today? It is a free-flowing podcast. I know Vic had something he wanted to bring up that's going on in his community. Then we can start off there. You felt pretty passionate about that. Oh, and just to let y'all know, y'all haven't seen my post, I did win a trophy this weekend. Okay, I did my first 5K. Came in 178th place. I think got a 240. Not bad for raw dogging it. You know, didn't train or nothing. 40 minutes. Did pretty good. Go ahead, Vic. I just
178 out of 179.
All right, somebody explain that to me.
What?
He did what?
He got a participation award this weekend, and he's proud of it.
Yeah, and I'm proud of it. I am. Dang,
You
who's
went to
super
go-
loud? Oh, can you
Sorry,
turn off
yeah,
the volume,
yeah.
please? Thank you.
Say it again.
About what?
You did 174.
178
He
out of
placed.
2 something.
Out
What
of
is that? What is it?
179.
He placed.
No, not of 179.
There was 179
Not at
runners,
179.
and
Okay.
he finished second to last.
That is not true.
There was 179.
There's 100. There's 240 something runners. I was 179.
Is that confirmed, or like did 240 sign up, and then like 60 didn't show up?
The other
Well, I mean, they're not
50
gonna-
stay in the-
Yeah, they're the ones who passed. Your placeholder has a scan on it.
Okay.
So yeah, this one's a little bit more sophisticated. It's not your local gym run where you're boxing. It's a little bit
yeah.
different.
How many? Dang, who are you throwing shots at?
I don't know.
How many?
You're the only boxer in this table.
How many minutes?
Ooh, nobody boxes here.
How many minutes? How many minutes did it take you to finish that?
I did it in 40.
Is that good?
I don't know. I've never done one before.
Just
many miles?
admit that you did it for the beer.
Huh? Well,
did it
that
for
of
the
course.
Oh, they gave you free
Of
beer
course.
afterwards.
Yeah, free
Not
beer.
during. Don't they do it during?
Well, they were handing out a Texas tea that had Hennessy in it, but I didn't touch it. I didn't get under the water either because I didn't know how it was gonna sit with me.
How did you do it with your fast?
I just ran.
You ran on
You're
an
not
empty
gonna
stomach.
pass out, huh?
You ran on an empty stomach?
Yeah, I work out on an empty stomach.
Okay.
It's not that hard.
All right. That's what she said.
13
I mean-
minutes and a half for
That was my pace, 13.5. My pace was
It
13.5.
is over there clapping on Giovanni's time.
how long did it take you? It was 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes for 3 point something.
So divided
Yeah.
by 3 miles.
Well, yeah, we didn't need back commentary.
Dang. So, all right. How many total ran?
I don't know, dog. It was
said
more,
200 and
it
something.
said- that's what
204.
that's what my thing
204.
said. It was not 204.
And
Then
then-
you said
I
204.
said 220 something. Hold on.
Okay, let's just
Are
say.
we gonna do
let's just
quick
say-
maths
let's
on the
just say
podcast right
220.
now?
Yes.
Let's do 220.
This is bad for audio, so hold on. Oh, so hold on. Let me give you the actual
Okay,
actual
go
numbers
for it,
here.
please.
So I placed 178 out of 247.
247.
Okay. So 247 people ran,
78.
and you placed 178.
Yeah,
So you were only faster.
was for my
you were
age
only
group.
faster than 69 people.
that was my age group. That was for age group male 30 to 34. Overall, I placed 1,672 out of 2,800.
Bro, you let some 34-year-olds outrun you out there?
Dude, there's some 80-year-olds that outran everybody. They got first place.
Did y'all see those Mexican girls with the huaraches last week?
Oh, yeah, my boy was telling me about that. That they even offered them to give them, like, better running shoes. I said, no, we do better with the huaraches.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because if you ever walked in huaraches, they're not comfortable
I
at
actually-
all.
Oh, no,
Why do you
they're
look
pretty
at me?
comfortable.
I actually run. I actually run faster barefooted.
That's awesome.
That's because I have arches in my feet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, no.
We can test that at the next 40.
The
at the
craziest,
next 5K.
the craziest thing is that when I think of huaraches, you know, the
Can we
like
close that door,
mental
please?
image that I have is Cameron Whiteside.
You know what? Cameron Whiteside
Yeah.
has appropriated
huarache.
culturally appropriated the huarache from and the Michoacan ones.
But
yeah.
you know what?
And he actually makes
But
it look
I
pretty
think-
pretty tight.
But I think that's on both cultures because a lot of black people wear huaraches too.
Bro, get out.
With
They do.
but the Africans, no? Like with
Yeah,
the
they have the
African,
different-
like, what are they called? I don't know.
I don't know what they're called, but it's the same. It's the same thing with the shoes wise. It's the same thing. I guess that's why Cam pulls it off, right?
Nah, you used to have, man, I don't even want to say it because I don't remember my boy's name.
One more.
No, my African friend that lived across the street from you. Like, they were legit African.
Oh,
And
yeah. I forget his name.
I forgot his name. It just slipped my mind.
What about him?
He would wear that to school and all the time.
Huaraches?
Yeah.
I know he wore like that.
But they have the difference. So like the ones, like the Mexico ones, they're all woven, and I guess the African ones are like 3 straps.
Some of
or
them,
4
because
Yeah.
straps, right?
in
That's Tiger
Sinaloa, they just use them like with the cross kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they just do that.
Oh, okay. I've only seen the ones that are like woven.
No. It's depending on what part of Mexico you're
the
at.
Sinaloa ones, huaraches, they go tucked right under your toes, and then you hold on to them with the end of your toe.
The ones in
wild.
Mexico City are actually botas with steel toe. So they kick people out there in the micros for trying to steal. So it's pretty
Were
wild.
those chicks that did the run and the huaraches, were they from Mexico City or no?
No.
No, they had the whole like the Florico dress, or I don't know if it was Florico,
Folclorico.
whatever. Yeah, you know, I'll let Flor translate for me. Was it
Folclorico.
Folclorico? They had that dress on and then the huaraches, and they refused to take any other running shoes. They did better with those.
They
Which I
said
thought
they're
was crazy.
historically like great long distance runners. I wish I would have researched where they ran to.
They did something crazy. My friend actually sent me. I'm not gonna open up my reels right now, but my friend actually sent me a video about them after we did the run. I was like, that's wild what they were able to do. But it's just they're used to it. Can you imagine how tore up their feet are though?
Were there any Ethiopians running?
I don't know.
Imagine
I didn't
like the calluses that they might have, because I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're like guachos.
Yeah, and they're
super
thin
hard.
too. They're thin. But going back to that before, I wanted to flex my trophy on you guys. We were talking about your neighbor. What's going on?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, not your neighbor. Your
Neighborhood.
your lack of back neighbors.
Yeah, so I live in a beautiful oasis currently, and it is a abandoned forest behind my house, and it's been fun for me. And now we saw a sign. We actually saw a guy get out the car and throw this random board out, and we're like, what is he doing? And I was with Nate Jr. And then like a day later, we had a neighborhood announcement that they were gonna have like an emergency meeting because these guys were getting approval for something. I think they're supposed to make an announcement that you're going to build some type of building so you can protest it. These guys did it like all last minute. Like literally the day before his event, he like threw this board out. Everything was going crazy. So I told Nate Jr., I was like, hey, let's go to this meeting. And he was like, for what? I was like, I don't know. I live back there. Let me see what they're going to do. So we went back there. All the neighbors were upset. They're building a senior community, and they were getting a vote on whether we were going to approve it or not. And they're saying that in our zip code, there's not enough low-income housing for senior citizens, and there's no place for them to go. And they're trying to do a subsidized rent, and I sound like those people on the internet. Like, I need that housing, just not in my backyard because, I don't want to see the lights all night. But nonetheless, we're there, and one of the neighbors brought a really great point. He's like, hey, well, we have deed restrictions. That's technically our neighborhood. We can't build higher than 2 stories here, so that building can't go. The guy was like, well, we already got approval for 4. And he's like, there's no way you got approval for 4 because we haven't had our board meeting on it. And I'm going to deny that because you can only do 2 stories. He's like, well, I'm going to lose 175 units. He's like, then I guess you better look somewhere else. And everybody was like throwing out like really good, informative like stances on why they should and why they shouldn't. So immediately they knocked it from 4 stories to 2 stories on the fence, or like backing up to the neighbors. And then on the other side, it backs up to commercial. They can do 4 stories over there. So we're getting this whole argument with that. Today, they're starting construction. They've already torn down all the trees. Everything's going. And I was telling Flor that there was a neighbor that was for it. They were like, yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, I think there needs to be more affordable housing. And he's like my back neighbor, so we both back up to this land. And he said all that and then comes home and puts his house on the market like a week later. Literally put it on the market. And I think I was telling Nate, I was like, bro, I should put my house on the market. And he was like, bro, can't do it. You already know. You shouldn't do it. And I was like, it's not there. I'm going to put it on. And
It's because we're realtors and we're ethical and we
We're
hold
supposed
ourselves
to
to a different
disclose.
standard. We don't do things like that. So, yeah, that's fine.
so
Let's say your neighbor didn't disclose that, and him and his realtor both knew, right? Speculating here. The person who bought that house, would they have a matter to be able to remediate that?
yes. Yeah. And I think there's our fund is set up for that. So there's our fund is set up for that. Or isn't there like a real estate recovery fund for those?
There is, yeah.
And yeah, they can definitely sue. And I think I will absolutely go testify and be a witness because the guy is the one that co-signed it. He said, yeah, I want the building, and then left.
Well, the fund has been, depleted substantially. So probably right now is not a good time to fight that battle.
Has there been that much fraud?
Yeah,
Dang.
a lot. We've had so many realtors, come into the business that are doing things, and this is the worst part about it is that they're coming in here doing fraud and not knowing that they're doing fraud, not knowing that these things are unethical or illegal. and
Nah, but sometimes I be known and I do it. No. No, that's a joke. That's a joke.
yeah, it's a joke. He's joking.
So I believe during the pandemic there was something that a realtor got sued along with the seller because they sold a property. I believe that there was a freeway that was going to run behind that neighbor's house, or the person who bought the house was going to run behind their house, and they sued the realtor and the seller because they both knew. I don't know exactly where it ended, but I remember it was happening during the pandemic.
Well, there was when I was in new home construction, right? There was a home. It was a neighborhood. It was called Lakes of Babylon, and that community, it was already. I don't. You guys probably don't remember this, but 99 had like 3 or 4 different routes that it was supposed to take, right? And it wasn't for sure. They can never vote on it. They can never put it together, and so. The developer that developed Lakes of Babylon, they were selling these lots to the builders, and the builders were building homes. Well, when the final agreement came through for 99 to come through the back of there, a lot of the homeowners sued the developer, and that community came to a standstill. And that community was supposed to, I mean, it has huge homes. The amenities were awesome. Just where it was at, it was just a great place to be. But those neighbors that sued and did that brought the value of the neighborhood down so low that a lot of people that how do I say, it wasn't an exclusive neighborhood anymore, for lack of better words, in an exclusive area.
I don't know. Personally, I have some friends that live in that neighborhood, and I think it's a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
I actually met those friends through Nate. So.
Yeah. So.
I will say that whole area, not only Lakes of Babylon, because
Where is that at? Like, is that close?
99 and
2920,
2920.
249,
Oh.
all that area. But it wasn't just there. I think the boom stopped also. What is it, like Huffmeister?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
that
Huffmeister
road?
and,
And you had like Country Club Greens, which is a gated community there.
Oh yeah.
And
it cut it off or something, right?
They used to have like huge plans, and I have friends that did buy in there, and I love that community for the gated community and the acre lots, and it was great for spring, and all that just came to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just now building it up, but look how long it's been.
It's been a long time, and also the neighborhood has suffered. The value has suffered.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to get back there because they fought the 99 so much that I think there's like 2 roads, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. And there's like a ditch on each side. It's kind of like Rhodes Road.
Yeah. So you widen the roads, and that's important. A lot of the times as neighbors and as customers, we don't like change, and I really don't like that they're going to build something behind me. But at the end of the day, those trees that I had back there, they're not that nice. I'd rather have maybe I'll regret this later, but I'd rather have some pretty landscaping back there or something else. Or I can put up my own trees to block that.
Yeah,
we'll
on
see.
on your fence side.
On my side.
Well, as a son of an aging mother that's already 66 or 67, I don't mind those communities going up.
Yeah. Easy walk, easy walk to a visit instead of a short drive, an easy walk.
Yeah, right.
That was an important thing that came up in that meeting. So if you're at a 55 plus community, apparently there's no like restrictions on under 55 that can live with you. Like you can have your 35-year-old son or kids with their families move in. There's like really they're protected under like housing laws
Oh wow.
at 55 communities, but 65 and up, non-negotiable. Like you can't have people there longer than a certain period.
That's awesome.
It has to be the people living there. You can't let your 30, 40-year-old son come over. I think it's something crazy. Like they have to be over 45, or they have to be adults.
Yeah, but after 65, bro, it's kind of like high turnover too. I mean, how long more does a 65-year-old live?
Americans
I
are
mean,
their own lives.
nowadays they can live.
Yeah.
Well, Mexicans, yeah, but
Not only Mexicans.
It's funny that you say that because I did hear about it. I heard a story about somebody at a 55 community, and they bought a house for their kids in that community, and then they found out that the kids were living there permanently, and I think they gave them like an ultimatum, like either you live here permanently and you move all your stuff here, or you have to sell, because they were at a 55 plus, and they bought it with the intentions for their kids to live there.
And that's the difference. Like, you can be there with your kids,
Yeah.
but if the people are just there by themselves, then that's the problem. But the thing is that they can still live there, and that's an issue. Imagine, your mother, right? You're older, you want to relax, but then you have my kids next door beating down your walls because I'm at my mom's house staying there. It'd be tough.
I don't want to move them on.
And I don't think a lot of Mexicans end up in 55
That's true.
plus communities.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they end. What I'm starting to see a lot is I forget the name of this build, but it comes with its own mother-in-law suite, the next gen. I'm starting to see people ask a lot about these next gen. Even in Baytown, there's actually a community in Baytown that started to sell next gen homes, and I was like, I would never think that you would see that here. But most Hispanics don't want their parents in a different area living. And then if they do live with them in the house, the wife doesn't want the mother-in-law there, so just build a little house right next to it, right? And that's what I'm starting to see a lot now.
So I was part of 2 next gen communities, and they didn't do as good as people thought they were going to do. You know, and that's the thing. I always say this, right? I always say that all of my opportunities in sales has always been my race, and because I speak Spanish, right? And I remember whenever they started this whole next gen thing, they were like, "Oh, put Nate in that neighborhood. He's gonna get all the Mexicans to live in there."
My boy was the first
Yeah.
DEI. Dang, that's crazy.
The first one. The first one.
DEI, diversity, equity, and
Diversity,
inclusion.
yeah, that was me. I was the first one, man. That's why I'm against it. So they put me in these neighborhoods and they try to get me to sell these properties, and you'd be surprised how many people did not want to didn't want to live there, didn't want to have their kids with them, or vice versa. They didn't want to have their aging parent right next door, because some of those had most of them, all of them had an actual access from the inside of the.
Yeah.
And then get this. A lot of those, little, I don't know what to call them, suites.
Mother-in-law
whatever.
den? Yeah.
They had a refrigerator, they had a sink, but they did not have a stove or a
Kitchen.
range. You couldn't put one in there. And so we would leave a space so that you could retrofit it later, but only thing you could retrofit was something electrical, and so it really wasn't as popular as people thought it was going to be. At least here, well, you know what? In Spring, it was Inverness Forest, and it was I forget what other community. They weren't as popular. And then, you're adding more square footage. You're adding more. It's not even profitable on the profit side.
It's hard to fit that type of property on a lot of a regular community that isn't a quarter acre or half an acre and up. In Baytown, there is a community that's selling those, but it's only a few. There's probably like maybe one on every other street or 2 on every other street, something like that. It isn't a whole community of next gen.
So those houses are always more expensive, and when I got into those expensive neighborhoods, what I started hearing from customers was they didn't want the big rooms, they didn't want the big space, and their whole reasoning was, if you make it too comfortable for someone to stay, they'll move in. I don't want it so super comfortable. I want you to come visit, and I want you to leave. So some of the things with like new homes and construction, the rooms are small, and everyone says, "Oh, they're small, they're small, they're small." And this new generation of people that we sold to, were content with that. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted the smaller rooms. They didn't want to make it too comfortable for you to move in. And that was like, I heard that over and over and over, regardless of race, gender. I mean, I would say even age. It was just something that like everybody wanted. They didn't.
In that phase, yeah.
They didn't want to move in together.
Yep. When I started selling new homes, I remember there used to be a builder. They used to just blow us out of the water. We can never ever sell. I mean, if they came to my community and I didn't get them on a contract, and they went to that community and got with that builder, done. They were gonna buy that home. And it was Postwood Homes, Foxwood Homes. And the thing about it, what was so interesting to me, and the only reason I remember this because I was thinking right now when you said I was diversity, inclusion, all this stuff. I remember they put me in an area that was predominantly Hispanic people, right? And what do Hispanic people want in a home?
Big yards.
And what else?
A space for my banda.
A lot of square footage.
Yeah.
They want a lot of square footage for cheap, right?
I don't know. Why don't we ask Andres?
And so what does a Hispanic buyer want in a home?
He said, I only sell to
Yeah, well-
non-Hispanics.
From my experience, I mean, a lot of land and space.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, if they get a home, I mean, just big rooms. I mean, from my
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
And then the second biggest thing is like having a nice sized lot or oversized lot.
Yeah.
You know, just to have that space for.
And what does that mean
Whatever.
to you or to your clients? An oversized lot or big space? What
Means you can fit the tool van in the back or something, you know.
Fit the truck in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
trailer.
I mean, it's just the space in general. It's just that's it.
Well, I was talking to you about looking for a home for my clients, and what
Right.
big space to my clients right now is just if I can park my 2 cars in my garage and then still have another 2 parking spots, that's like a big yard for them. They can
Oh,
do
yeah.
like one little barbecue. So
I think technically for like most home buyers, like 10,000 square foot is usually like a good sized lot. But whenever we're talking about like more on the east side, everybody's looking for at least a quarter of an acre to a half an acre.
Yeah.
So
So
an acre preferably, yeah.
So I used to always battle with the builder that would give you a lot of square footage for very inexpensive. And it goes back to the whole thing, right, that I always try to talk to, new builders, right, that want to build homes. And I tell them, because, a new builder will go and they'll find a floor plan and they'll say, oh my God, this is the most beautiful, best home that I've ever seen in my life. And I don't need a realtor. It's going to sell itself, And the truth is that it's not true, because I had a builder that was putting in, and at this time, rounded corners, right, or bullnose corners was new. And 14-inch centers was something that was an upgrade, which meaning that it had more 2x4s, between the walls. And so this guy was selling all these things, right? 42-inch cabinets, high ceilings, 12-foot ceilings, all kinds of stuff, right? Brick, 3-sided brick, all these things. He was like, this is the best home for the price, 1,700 square foot for, at that time, right? It was $180,000, right? Which was a lot. At that time.
well, it's still a lot to me.
And so yeah, right. So then this other builder was selling 2,500 square feet for the same price,
Wow.
and it was like, and more bedrooms sometimes 5 bedrooms. And the way they would get away with it too is they would make rooms that didn't have any doors, and they say you could do whatever you want here. Put a door, make it a bedroom. Put a door, make it a media room. Put a door, whatever it was, right? And the way they were doing this is by cutting corners. They were not doing 14-inch centers. They were not doing bullnose doors. They were doing gold or brass. The cheapest of the cheapest. Light fixtures. They were doing. It was just the basics.
I just want to say that Nate bought a prestigious. What was it? Coventry?
Coventry? No,
What was it?
I didn't buy anything. It was
Your first home.
Oh, my first home was it was a prestigious home.
Well,
It doesn't exist anymore.
They bought a prestigious home that overspent, and my first home was the houses that Nate are talking about. And bro, I could literally hear my neighbors fight all the time
Yeah,
through the walls.
definitely.
It was wild.
Definitely. So listen, this is how prestigious my home was. The first home I bought in spring. So it was called. Oh shoot! I forgot the name of the dang builder. Imperial Homes. Imperial Homes. And that thing, if you go to my house right now, you wouldn't even know about it. They went out of business like 3 years after I bought my home. Because remember, it's when the crash happened, right? But if you go to my house right now, to my front door.
They were so good they went out of business.
No.
Because they overspent.
No.
Them boys put their money where their mouth
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
The
You know what?
market did not respond.
They went out of business because of what they would do to their homes as a standard feature, okay? If you go to my house right now, because I still own it, I rent it, right? And you go to my front door, my whole crown molding just for my front door is freaking awesome.
Still intact.
Yeah, and you go inside my home, the whole house has all kinds of crown molding. My fireplace is awesome. The whole thing. I have not done not one. The only thing I've done to that place is replace one of my cabinet doors because I guess the got mad with his wife and punched one of my one of my cabinets. But that's it. My house is intact.
Don't front.
Yeah, I haven't put it. The only thing, and I changed the roof because whenever the whole hailstorm. But other than that, I haven't done anything to my home. That home is awesome. I bought just in time, and I bought a perfect home. A lot of things that house has at that time were upgrades, and the thing is that right now, you get that standard, but that home was really really nice. But anyways, back to my story. This builder was building a lot of square footage for nothing and putting cheap fixtures into these properties, right? So a lot of people were like, okay, well, I got a lot of square footage for cheap, right? I can put my own doors for my media room. I can put light fixtures better. I can put granite tops. I can put whatever I want to do to this house. This house is my canvas. That's how they used to sell it. And your boy Justin used to sell those homes.
I'm still sold.
From our, you see, yeah, you see,
It's intriguing the more you talk about it.
It's for
It is.
a certain buyer from Mexico City, and that's the type of buyer that likes those homes, right? But check this out, and this is what I would always tell everybody, right? I would say, great, you can, it's true, you're right, but there's 57 houses just in your little zone, your little neighborhood, right? Are you going to convince all your neighbors to do the same thing that you're doing? To do upgrades, to put granite tops, to put light fixtures, to do all these things to make your house look prestigious? No, you're not. You're never going to do another dang thing to the house. And neither is none of your neighbors. And most of your neighbors are probably going to foreclose. And what happens to the values in those neighborhoods? How high does the value go up? It doesn't. It slowly ticks up. You could still go to some of these neighborhoods and get really good prices. You go to the neighborhoods that you spend the same amount of money for less square footage with more features, with more standard features in it. Those houses go up, 5 to 1 year my freaking property went up 10%.
They hold their
They
value.
hold their value, and it's a different person. It's a different buyer.
And it is a testament to builders that, I wouldn't say necessarily build correctly, but don't build cheap. They build a good product. I just
Quality.
walked a quality product, right? I just walked the house that they bought it 2.5 years ago. And this house, I mean, the paint that they gave them was super, super cheap. Right, you just touch it and it gets dirty. The flooring was starting to come up already. The house from the outside, I forget what they used on the outside, but all of it was in brick. That was already starting to fall apart. And I know that there's a certain amount of care that you put into a property as a homeowner, but I could tell that this wasn't that, right? They weren't dirty people or anything like that. And they're just like, man, like, we got this one because it was super cheap.
Yeah.
It was a super cheap home. And it was, I've always talked about this builder. It was Lennar. It was
Yeah.
one of their lowest end quality homes that they have.
So listen to this, and I got in trouble for this one time because it's whenever members of horror used to troll me on Facebook, and they used to snitch me out, right? But I actually spoke with their attorney and my attorney. If I am looking out for the best interest of my client, then it's not illegal, because I have said it publicly. I'll say it to this day. I'll say it always. If my client comes to me and wants to buy a KB home, I won't represent you. If you come and you want to buy a Lennar home from me, I won't represent you. Those are the two homes that I will absolutely not represent you. I will say, good luck, have fun, okay? There's other bad builders out there, just like Postwood, Foxwood. In my opinion, they were bad builders. But you know what? I walked you through it. I said, look, it's not this, it's not that. The neighborhood's not going to go up. This is going to happen. I'll tell you everything. And if you still wanted to buy it, atáscate ahí lodo. But if you wanted to buy a KB home, you want to learn home, I won't sell it to you. I didn't want to sell
But
it
a
to you.
lot of times you also have to see that, those builders are the builders that kind of quote unquote work the most with the buyer to put a buyer in a house.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that's what convinces the buyer.
But they're predatory, okay? And the reason they're predatory because what they use to build a home is not of quality, And so you think about this, right? Because right now you were saying right now about the paint. Why do they put cheap paint or cheap paint? Why do they put flat paint? Well, they put flat paint so the light won't pick up how uneven the frame is, okay? And then you look at the brick, right? KB, Lennar, they don't use brick. They use, and we used to call it crick. And the reason we call it crick is because it's concrete blocks, okay? Now, in the summertime, in the Houston heat, put a brick, a concrete brick in the heat and put a clay brick in the heat. And let them heat up, okay? And then grab them and see which one's going to cool off faster. That concrete will store that heat and keep your house hot for at least 3 or 4 hours after the sun goes down. I kid you not. And these are just things that these builders do. They do the bare minimum just to pass inspections. A lot of times they pay off the inspectors because they're a national company that can do that.
Well, that's why they don't encourage, buyers to
No,
get
they
inspection
don't.
because they say, we'll do a walkthrough, we'll have an inspector here for you. Like,
And people say, "Oh, yeah, you just don't like Leonardo because they don't pay you commissions." No, Leonardo pays commissions because they don't want us to point things out to you. They only want the ones that are gonna just bring you there and say, "Hey, here's the guy here. He's paying my commission." So they pick and choose who they like.
And from what I've noticed, at least on their entry-level product, a lot of those communities that got built prior the pandemic or during the pandemic, right now, if you go and run comps, they're pretty much at the same price of where they bought it. They haven't even gone that much up higher because people know what kind of product it is now.
Yeah.
And the house next door is for sale an extra $20,000 for more than what you're trying to sell at. Like, there's no money to be made there. Now you got to rent it out. Because if you want to move, now you have to rent it because you're not going to make no money, or you're going to lose money on the house.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important for buyers to have an understanding and actually sit down and do a consultation with the realtor about what they're looking for and what their future plan is, not just today, but at least in the next 5 to 10 years with that property.
Yep. So Vic is really quiet because Vic used to run a very predatory builder, and he.
Bro, all I'm saying is all this stuff Nate was talking about, your client sits in my office, I'm overcoming those objections, and you're buying my house, baby. I'm going to sell you a house. I'm going to teach you how to overcome that with great rebuttals, and you're going to buy with full confidence that those 36-inch centers that I'm selling you are the safest. Very aerodynamic for when the hurricanes come.
You want your house to move back and forth.
You want it to sway. You want it to sway.
You want it to sway.
Not it'll fall over.
You know those memes where you're out there vacuuming the roof because you're trying to be nosy? You ain't got to do it. You can have your dinner and listen to your neighbors, baby.
They said, you see
Yeah.
this pencil here? When I push it, if it moves to the side, it doesn't break. But I hold it still, I crack it, it breaks. You want your house to move back and forth.
You know, they say those drunk people, they get in car accidents, they always survive.
It's because they're loose. They're loose. They're limber.
That's terrible, man.
But to bring this full circle, right? No pun to the eclipse, but to bring it full circle, and we're talking about how if something wasn't disclosed to you whenever you buy a property, there is a remedy for it. But we're actually having a new home construction built on your own land with your own builder over there on your side of town, because there isn't necessarily big builders there. It's just a lot of mom and pop shops who are a lot of mom and pop builders. So if they go down that route, how dangerous is it if they buy land without having proper representation and the actual representation of somebody who knows what they're doing when they're buying land? Because if I remember correctly, one of your clients was looking to buy land probably about a year ago, and we found out that that piece of land in particular wouldn't work for them because it was going to be sold to a community sooner or later, or at least close enough to where that HOA was going to affect them. So they couldn't do just whatever they wanted to. And if they wouldn't have done that research prior to that, they wouldn't have been able to build what they wanted to down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely important, for you to ask your agent and, ask yourself as well, if the property really has no restrictions, or what are the restrictions that the property has. What I've seen lately out in the country is that even if, let's say, somebody has 25 acres, they decide to sell 10 acres, they themselves, the sellers, put certain restrictions in that land. Why? Because they're gonna be keep on living in the other 15 acres, and they don't want the neighbors next to them that have 10 acres to be doing whatever they want to the place. There is a property that are selling 10 acres at a time. It's a tract of 50 acres, and the seller put a very specific restriction that no mobile homes allowed. You only can buy the land if you're going to build a house. The house has to have certain amount of square footage for you to build it. So why? Because it really is getting out of control on how many people want the no restrictions to do whatever the heck they want.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that Terrenos Houston, right?
So that's why they're trying to prevent, because in that side of town, they can do basically whatever they want.
And I mean that's a perfect example. I've told people that because that's been one of my biggest battles with everybody when I started new home construction and development, and they were like, hey, I want no restrictions. I want no I want to do whatever I want on my lot, right? And so then, whenever Terrenos Houston's got out of hand, and I remember the first time I went over there, I was like, oh my God, where the heck am I? I mean, because, I think even if you go to Mexico, you don't really run into neighborhoods like that, you know? And it's
Terrible.
like, yeah, it's really bad. So the thing is that, I tell people, hey, you're upset about HOA fees, you're upset about this, you're upset about restrictions, you're upset about whatever. I said, go out there and so you can see what
no restrictions really is.
Yes.
It's the
And
Wild Wild West
it's-
over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the Wild Wild
in-
West.
Honestly, it's not only, in the Terrenos Houston area. There's a lot of places around the Houston area that unfortunately there's beautiful houses, sitting in 2-3 acres in the middle of a bunch of, run down mobile homes with crackheads and stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy.
Burning tires next door, yeah.
When I went,
Yes.
Hold on, guys. Before we go into that, we were talking about the land and doing your due diligence. Didn't you just have a client, recently that bought some land and they couldn't do something with it or something similar?
Oh, yeah, I just kind of. ¿Cuál es?
This is an English podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just played.
Bro, somebody said, "Atascate que hay lodo," and what does that mean in English?
I said that. I said,
But, go ahead, Andres. Go ahead.
I can't remember 'em right now on top of my head. It's just we were just talking about it earlier, but I can't remember.
I have an issue right now with a client with the same thing. We purchased some land a couple years ago, and the guy just kind of jumped at it and bought it. And he's from Dayton, and he was moving closer this way, and he's buying this land in Atascocita, and he can't do anything that he wants to do. He wanted to put up a shop. He wanted to do some houses and similar thing, and it happens more times than not when you don't have proper
Yes.
representation.
So I actually had the builder that I sold his personal house in Baytown at the beginning of last year. He builds his own houses. He sells it, builds another one, sells it, and it just snowballing. And he's working his way out of the refineries. And that's how he's doing it. But the second time, and the reason why he's been using a realtor now, is because the second time that he bought that piece of land, he bought it for $90,000. He thought it was a steal, and it ended up costing him another $30,000 because it wasn't leveled properly in order for him to build a house on it.
What was the name?
So he had to bring more dirt here. He knows who he is. This is my boy now. But he knows, he'll tell you that story himself.
No,
That's
so-
how we started to work together because he went through that screw up.
Yeah.
One thing that I would say, if you're an agent and if you have a client that is looking for land with no restriction, I mean, do the due diligence and do your research. Call the county. Make sure, if you're a listing agent, don't take your client's word,
But let me tell
That
you.
was important. The listing agent don't take in your client's word for it.
No.
I just went to go look at some land the other day, and they had the wrong deed restrictions posted up. They had the wrong neighborhood information
Yep.
posted.
Yes.
And it had been listed 3 previous times. All of them were wrong. When I went to go find the land, I couldn't find it through the legal description, through the areas, and I was like, what's going on here? So I had to go do my own homework, and I'm representing the buyer. I'm not the listing agent. I was yelling at the listing agent, hey, all your stuff is wrong. All the things that you're putting on is wrong.
Yeah, so it was me, for example, every time, even if a buyer or seller send me a property, the first thing that I do, I check in the county. I don't take everything for granted what they put on the MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny, right? Because even the county gets it wrong sometimes.
Yes.
And not just that, because I've had clients, right? Have had busybody clients, right?
Who corrects the clients?
Huh?
Who corrects the county?
So that's a good
That's the
question.
secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce that's what you need realtors for. But listen to, and you know what? And not just any realtor knows that, right? But check this out. I had a busybody client, right? Oh, I built 8 homes before, and I've done this. I buy land. I do this all the time. I already talked to the city. I already did this. I already did that. I mean, literally talked to the city. Do you know how many times I've heard the same story over and over and over again, that they talked to the city said it was fine, and then when they try to get their permit, they couldn't get their permit.
Because they don't get the answer in paper. They don't have anything to prove it.
Not just that. It depends what the city's agenda is too. You don't know what it is. So the thing is this, whenever you come and you speak with your realtor, right? Be open with him. Hey, I want to buy this land. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. Sometimes I'll sit back and I'll hear one of my clients and I'll be, man, that's an awesome idea. And so then I look and I say, why has nobody else thought about this idea? Or is there something similar to this? Or what's going on? Let me see. And I'll do my due diligence, and I'll find out that you can do what you want to do there. And a lot of times, they'll already talk to the city. The city, okay. you know,
And
let's do it.
sometimes the city doesn't lie to the client. It's just the client misunderstands what the city
That's
says.
another thing
Yes.
I have a
too.
perfect example right in Baytown. I had a client who was looking to buy this lot and they wanted to put a trailer on it. And they kept telling me, they're like, well, we already talked. We know that it's good for the trailer. And I was like, I know that in Baytown, the only way you can do trailers is if you're grandfathered in. Meaning that the trailer, there had to be a trailer there already in order for you to have that trailer. So you could either buy a lot with a trailer on it already, but you can't remove that trailer and put another one. It has to stay that trailer. Or if you buy a lot and it has nothing there, you can't put a trailer there. And I was like, I know that that's not right. I know that it's not right. And I was like, let me call real quick. So I called and I said, yes, you can have a trailer if it's grandfathered in. But they didn't understand that part. And I was just like, yes, trailers are
Yeah,
allowed.
my grandfather
if
has
you
a
buy
trailer.
in.
They understood whatever they
grandfather did
wanted
have a
to
trailer.
Yeah, my grandpa did have a trailer there. Yeah. So exactly. So sometimes it's not even it's the city's fault or anything like that. They just might misunderstand, and for them being a busybody, they go over there. Supposedly they have it all figured out, and then when they try to do it and they screw up, now they blame you or the city, even though both sides told them that that's not the way that you do it.
But you know, I've had this question before, right? They go, who should I call first? Should I call a lender first, or should I call a realtor first? Or
call
you
your
know,
realtor.
yeah, you know, and you know, they always ask that question, and you're like, you know, the realtor does, you know, or not all realtors, but you know, realtors that actually, you know, produce, or top producers, right? They've seen a lot of deals. They know what they're doing, so they can give you access to a lot of people. They know where to find what you need. They can find you the builder, they can find you the surveyor, they can find you the lender, they can find you the credit repair guy, they can find you the insurance company that will do insurance in Baytown. They'll find you. I mean, they can do all these things because they've already done this. They've already jumped this or how you say hurdle. You know, jumped this hurdle. You know, and so what happens is that you know, that's what you're giving to these people. These people that say, "Oh my God, what am I paying you for? You know, how is he getting so much commission?" You're getting our knowledge, you're getting our expertise, you're getting everything that we do for you. You know, you can't do this alone. And once again, you can do this alone. You can buy a house alone, but what are you going to pay for it? How do you know what it's worth? You know, you can't go in and rent a house by yourself. But how do you know if you got a good deal or not? You don't. You know, it's just you know, some people like to live in.
How do you know that you're
ignorant bliss.
priced $100,000 over what you should be?
Dude,
If you don't have a realtor who knows how to run his numbers properly.
Yeah, you're right.
I just want to say, no one ever wonders why I get so much commission. I do a great job of providing value. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what a great realtor should say, right? But sometimes to bring it on Flor's point, right? And I've seen this happen so much with Flor because she really deals with a lot of land. And sometimes the realtors who have all the listings out there in the country don't even know what they're doing. And they have a title company that's super lazy. They just use them, go sign people up, and boom, boom, get it done quick. And we have to start sending our title people, hey, is this right? What's going on here? They can't seem to resolve it here. Is there a way to remediate this or not? Is this actually, they're telling us no, can we actually fix this or not? And a lot of times that's what ends up happening. So even if you just go directly with the listing agent, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best service. Sometimes you need somebody who's actually interested in what they're selling. And that's like Florida. She literally lives on a ranch, right? She knows and lives that. Like that's what she does.
That's true.
That's why she knows the ins and outs.
Let me ask you a question on a separate subject, okay? Everybody here is a licensed realtor. Some seasoned, some not.
why are you looking at Andres when you said seasoned?
I didn't look at Andres. I pointed at Giovanni.
I heard light skin
'cause
realtor.
He's not. Yeah,
That's what I heard.
Giovanni's not very good at selling value. He doesn't know how to do comps.
I said,
But the
I
thing
sell
is,
market value.
the thing
I
is
don't sell
this-
dreams. Market don't lie, baby.
But let me
I'll sell whatever's in front of me.
They said I just sell.
If you buying, I'm selling.
look. All I know, it's honestly, it's Vic's fault, because whatever number I give Vic just goes out there and gets it sold. So excuse me, I gave you a number. You came in 30,000 under. It's my fault. You needed some more time. Vic's been in this for a long time.
I guess that whole community more time because all of the other ones sold for that same price. Me and the community needed more time, I'm sure.
But check this out.
I'll give you that one.
I don't know. All I know is that I would have added 20% somewhere to make sure
Heck
that I was making money.
So the thing. So let me ask you a question real quick. Okay. So now everybody here is a licensed realtor, right? And you have a home. It's listed, right? You make an appointment. A realtor calls you, makes an appointment, goes and shows this property, or walks into the property. Immediately, there's a office in the front of the home, right? A study office. On top of the desk in the study office is a loaded gun. Okay. Is there any kind of liability here? That's a question.
If somebody touches the
No, I'm just saying.
It's just sitting there?
I just
No,
explained it. Is there any kind of liability here? Has anybody done anything wrong here?
Can I phone a friend?
I had to be a millionaire. Is there any liability here?
I mean, I would say no because I mean, if the house if the owner is still living in the house,
Okay.
I mean, he has the right.
Yeah, it's
to,
a person that lives. It's a homeowner. It's fully furnished home. The homeowner left his pistol on top of the desk. Is there liability here?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I think it is on the homeowner.
Who is the liable one?
In this case, it would be the homeowner.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay. Well, you're saying that there's liability, right? But I didn't say that the person's that was showing the home, that was viewing the home, their son went and grabbed the gun and shot himself. I'm saying there's just a gun sitting on a desk. Is there liability here?
Is there liability? I would say yes.
Okay. Okay. So now you're saying there's a liability. Where does the liability fall? Who's liable here?
Both.
Who's both?
Nah,
Who's
the
both?
homeowner.
Oh, who's
Unless-
both? Who's both?
The seller and the listing agent.
Is it?
I mean, no, because I mean, you as a listing agent, have to tell your clients, if you have anything, that it's worth some money, put it up whenever, we're gonna have showings, whatever. If he forgets, I mean, who's gonna be liable?
Is this an antique or a functional weapon?
No, it's a weapon. It
Okay.
works.
I mean, unless
And it's loaded.
something happens, unless somebody grabs a gun and whatever is
So
going
there
to
it goes.
Pop.
So
I mean, Michael Jackson.
So there's a possibility for liability. There's no liable. There's nothing has happened. There's a possibility for liability there because there's a loaded pistol on a desktop. But there's a liability to somebody falling down the stairs. There's a liability of a chandelier falling on somebody. I mean that's just that's.
Bro,
just,
you've been watching Suits again?
No, whoa. No, this happened. So this is.
Dude wants to be Harvey Specter so
Hold on.
bad.
So this is something that really happened. This is something that really happened, and it happened. And the agent that walked in on the property,
the showing agent.
the
or
showing
the
agent got
buyer's
so upset and said it was so unprofessional and yada yada yada, and made a big deal about it. So
Flo walked in with
the
Coke
thing
on the
is-
counter. Yeah.
in the restaurant, and the agent
Yeah.
said that it was baking soda.
How can we confirm?
How do we confirm? Flor put on. She said. Flor said it's because it turned blue when I was.
There's some of that blue magic. Yeah.
I often have powder in my restrooms, baby powder and stuff. So I mean, it could have been.
Yeah, it could have been baby.
Yeah, but this looked like a crack den
It
though.
was
This was,
fragrance powder.
it was no
Look,
kids living at
Look,
this house. It was
If
like
you
crack den.
walk into a bathroom, right, and you see white powder anywhere in the bathroom, instead of assuming there's Coke, you need to look up and assume there's a camera. Somebody drilled a hole and put a camera somewhere. That's what you need to be looking at.
Facts.
But anyways, back to my point, just to kind of let you guys know, there's no liability. There's nothing has happened there. Whose responsibility is it? It's the showing agent's responsibility to make either to leave the place immediately or to contact the homeowner to secure the pistol. There's no broken law and there's no broken ethics with a homeowner leaving a pistol on the.
Yeah, I was right.
So Flor was right. So her Mexican law degree is stronger than your career as a realtor.
For what?
Dang. Dang.
What?
That's
My clients,
tough.
look, my clients are responsible gun owners. Okay, just like every proud Texan should be. So they put up their weapons whenever somebody.
Usually
else is
people
visiting.
who own guns illegally hide them very well. Yes, I agree with you.
Giovanni's people don't flash them unless they're gonna use them.
Yeah.
You know,
My people are responsible gun owners. They only take them out for the practice range.
my
That's it.
people will go.
When they
play
take it out for the
cricket.
grab.
For the That's you. What was this question that I had? I totally forgot. We touched on your land stuff, right? Well, I had another
Are
one.
you ever gonna do another run?
Another run for what? Yeah, I'm
We
doing another
are.
one.
No,
This is
we
my
are
first
going
one.
to do one.
Every
This is
time,
we.
every time that I do a run, I'm gonna wear it.
You too.
YouTube.
First of all, I'll dust everybody in this office.
Ah, bro.
Second of all, I'm not doing that with you guys.
I knew were no. You're
Hold on,
doing the
hold on,
next
hold on,
one.
hold on.
Willis. You're doing the next
There's
one.
there's an active challenge in this office
Everybody
that I
sucks.
have made to Giovanni.
What did you make?
Everybody knows about that.
What?
Where
I don't
Giovanni
know.
said he could outrun me.
Oh.
I
You're
said,
gonna run too?
no.
Let's over here recruiting people. Look at that.
I'm not gonna run.
Hey, look at Float with the soft
But
gloves. I like that.
Giovanni told me one time, I don't even know why this came up. He said he could outrun me, and I said,
Bro,
no, you can't.
you
I said, I'll outrun
said
you.
it.
I even handicapped myself. I said, I'll run in a suit and in my shoes. You go ahead and go home and change into your Nikes.
Bro.
And he still won't run.
Bro, you want to run? You want to run from here down to the edge? I want to do an endurance run, like an actual run. I want to
I'll beat
sponsor
you
it,
at both.
donate
I'll beat you
to
at both.
our favorite
I
charity.
will beat you at both.
You can't beat us up. Bro,
I'll
you got
beat you-
shin
Let's
splints.
make
I'll
it
give,
happen.
that's not me. That's, that's Cameron. Cameron,
yeah.
that's not me, bro.
Let's
That was
make
you,
it
my
happen.
bad.
I'll outrun you in endurance.
Well,
I'll
let's do it,
sprint,
bro.
I'll
we have
jump.
another.
I
I was
can
like, bro,
jump
there's
higher
no
than
way
you, bro.
We have
Nate made
another
an
next
excuse. He had
5K.
shin splints.
Bro, there's no way. No, dude, you can't.
Yeah, I could have swore it was Nate who said
No,
yes.
that was Cam, bro,
Nate
not
said
me.
that he just bought a Lululemon suit to our run.
Yeah.
I did.
Hey,
I
he
did.
actually did.
I bought a lemon.
Yeah.
No, and it's a blazer, and dude, I'll outrun
You know what
bro.
they say about the Lululemon stuff is bad
We were
for
talking
men.
about that today. Is that true?
I heard about it
What is
for
it?
men.
What about it?
For the testes. It's bad for your testes.
What?
I heard, yeah, because of something
I don't know if that's true.
I didn't
chemicals
know
that they
that.
use. No, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, I already
Okay.
have 3
That's why I only run in Nike.
Do we have any questions for our
No,
awesome
I'm
guest?
sorry. I did want to
Rest.
say this about the HOA, right? Because we were talking about the importance of knowing if you have an HOA or not.
What does
so
that
I
mean?
actually heard homeowners association. What happened?
Somebody fell. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, but
Sorry.
anyways, I heard this last week. We were talking about squatters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's this guy who owned a Airbnb in New York.
Yes.
And somebody went in there, and the way that they scammed them into getting squatter rights was they said, you know what? Next week, I won't pay you through the Airbnb. I'll
Oh,
just
yeah.
pay you cash.
Yeah.
And that guy was like, oh, yeah, like I don't got to collect from Airbnb. I don't got to take a split. And then the following week, that guy said, yeah, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not paying you no more. But since he had an HOA at the property, he still had to go out there and shovel the snow every single week because the HOA was going to get on him. So it's good to have an
Oh,
HOA
man.
sometimes because it keeps you from doing dumb things like that. And you even said something about like the water and the lights. Sometimes certain HOAs, you
Yeah.
have to have it under the owner's name.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons for like squatter rights as well, right?
Yeah, I thought that was. I was like, man, no. I said, I don't want to pay water. I want to put the water in my name. What if the guy, doesn't pay the bill? But later you think about it. You're like, yeah, if somebody can move into your home, turn on the water with a fake lease, and the mud district where my home is at, they know if you own, you have to own this home, and only the owner can come and turn the water on. And even if you have somebody in the property leasing, you can actually have that person have it in his name, the account, but you have to sign for it and you're responsible for it if that person doesn't pay the water bill.
You know what? I was
So-
surprised with Beaumont. This deal that I just closed. Actually, Beaumont is very strict on who can open the water of the property.
Yeah, they're very racist out there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, very racist and strict.
The word we like to use is strict.
Lord,
Strict. Oh,
Lord
sorry.
wanted to
We
use
are very
strict.
They're very
He's very
exclusive and
political
selective.
correct. Well,
What's funny is that I'm trying to buy a house in Monterrey, right, or apartment in Monterrey, right? And I've been in this business, here for a long time, and I didn't know how they don't have like a lot of these. I don't even know how to say it. Down there, there's no housing. Whatever the housing department is
Housing
here,
laws.
housing laws are
Yeah.
here. They are not over there. There's nobody. There's nobody overseeing that department, and they can be super.
They said, how old is your kid? Nah,
Yeah.
bro, we're good.
yeah.
No, I mean, and you know what? It's not even like that. It's essentially like oh no, we're very exclusive. Like the guy that showed me I had to be introduced by a developer, one of our partners and developers in Tulum had to introduce me to this guy for this guy to even go and show me these places. And so then there's this new, it's a pre-sale, it's an apartment pre-sale, and I was looking at it, and at the bottom it's going to be shops, and he's like, oh no, this is exclusive, this is a master plan. He goes, we already have Balenciaga, we already have Gucci, they're going to be at the bottom, right? And I was like, I think Gucci and I think Balenciaga, right? I think in the Galleria. And I'm like, oof, I made that face, like, oof. And she's like, oh no, they're exclusive stores, they're luxury, whatever, because they love to throw the word luxury around. And I was like, oh yeah, I said, but what kind of people? Oh no, he goes, no, we're very exclusive. We interview everybody who lives here. Everybody who lives here is part of the yada 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 yada. I'm like, oh okay. And then they even said that the stores at the bottom were going to close at 8 o'clock. But they were still open to all the residents on the inside until 10 o'clock. So you can shop. If you were a part of that apartment, you can shop by, through the inside and have the whole store to yourself.
That's dope. But let me ask you this: do they have clean water there?
They, so
Monterrey doesn't even have water, just for your information.
Well, hold on.
Can I ask? Do they even have water there?
Why would they drink water? They have champagne, dog. Come on. That's where they get their.
Yeah, is that why the sewage smells like that?
You've been to.
Yeah, I know. I've been there with you.
Dude.
I know.
Get out of here, bro.
But that's why, seriously, there's no water. That's why Samuel is like bombarding the clouds to make it rain in Monterrey.
Really?
I'm not making this up.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
What kind of lies are y'all making up over there?
I don't know.
No,
Flo said
they
something
still-
about
they
the
still-
rain god right now. I don't know.
they still do witchcraft.
They were doing the rain
dances
dance
over there.
But they do that over there in everything, not only, for very exclusive, like, neighborhoods, condos, whatever. They do that for very exclusive schools over there too. Like, the parents have to make certain amount of money
Yes.
to be able to let their kids, enroll into certain schools.
That is true.
And somebody has to refer them, the parents,
Yes,
to
everything is
that
referral.
school over there.
Everything is referral to do business, is referral to live in the areas,
To
is referral
do
for everything.
things
You can't
at a
do
certain
that.
class.
There's certain apartments in New York that do that, because I know the Eric Conover. I watch his YouTube all the time. He had to get interviewed 3 times before they let him buy a condo there.
Yes, but that's an HOA. That's that to feel again. So that's like, so yes, but that's
Oh,
not.
he's skateboarding.
Oh, is that what he's doing? I can't even see the skateboard.
And they
So-
thought he was just walking
I
and
thought he
falling.
was falling. I said, dang, bro. I said, how many times I thought he was drunk. So anyways, so the thing is
too
that,
early for that.
that here, what they can do is, of course, they could do HOAs and stuff like that, right? But over there, they could specifically
It's blatant.
exclude a certain person in a certain class. But you see, that's what I was talking about earlier in the other podcast, right? In the most exclusive podcast, which is the Spanish podcast, right? There's still classes in Mexico. There's no class here.
Get it off your chest, Giovanni. What do you want to say? Say it.
Let him say it. So, look,
It's the end of the podcast. I'm not going there. I'm not closing out like that. Yeah.
there's no classes here, okay? If you see 3 people right now, they can all be dressed the same with the same, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, everything, whatever they're wearing, right? And you can't tell who is the rich one and who is the one that, lives at home with their mom, or who is the one that's broke living on credit.
I think you can tell.
You can't.
You can.
You can. Everybody can buy.
Here in America,
Everybody can buy.
Here in America, it's flipped. Everybody who's wearing all the visible name brand, all of the monogram, usually are not the ones who
That's
are
not
actually
true.
getting the custom.
That's not
Yes.
true.
Everybody
I
who
love
I see who
monogram.
wears the monograms everywhere.
That's not true.
Yes.
Like
That's not true.
monogram.
I said, I love monogram.
There's wealthy people that wear monogram. There's wealthy people that wear Gucci. You
Not
can't-
monogram like the way that you see at the pool. You know that.
Listen, you
Come on.
can't-
That's backwards
Come on.
monogram.
Listen.
I don't know.
That's flip. That's flip monogram.
Michael?
That's
Michael
backwards.
Kors?
That's backwards
Oh,
monogram.
and they said Michael Kors.
I thought you said that's
They said
Michael
Michael Kors
Kors.
is not even included in this conversation.
I was like, Michael Kors? No, seriously. And I know we have this big disagreement, right? But there's no classes here. Everybody can wear, everybody
That's an
can
issue
walk.
where the people that you hang out
You
with.
have said it yourself, bro. You've
What?
said it yourself. You go to the Galleria, dude, and they ask you if you work there because you're wearing a
That's
suit.
the Galleria, though. They don't
Wearing a
ask me
suit,
that in the
okay?
Woodlands.
So what I'm telling you is that in Mexico, there are still classes. There's still, you can tell who the difference between the classes.
You
know
can
what
do
I'm
that here, too.
saying? Okay.
You can do that here, too. You're telling me you can't tell the difference with somebody who quote-unquote, is wealthy or somebody who just has a regular job. And they
What
can
I
buy
will
stuff.
say is I don't watch like Bridgerton, those shows on Netflix, like with the kings and queens where they do the dances. I don't watch those, but when all those memes were going around, people were saying, "Oh man, I wish they still threw parties like that." And a lot of wealthy people were on the net. They said,
They do.
"We do,
We do. You're just not invited. Yeah.
And there could be that we just don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's ridiculous to say that there's not a. Of course, it's not as blatant.
Well, you're
Not
not
as blatant.
You're not in the know here.
It's not as blatant.
Is the problem?
You telling me the president is is it has an issue with ex-presidents have an issue with hanging out with regular people? They don't, bro. There is a class system for everybody. Now, just because that class system is a lot higher than what it takes for you to be in a certain class system in Mexico, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Whoa, hold on. You think there's a higher class system here than in Mexico?
That is another conversation for another day because they are kicking us off of the podcast. But yeah, next week you can catch. We didn't get to talk about the aliens during the eclipse, but you can go to my stories. I talked a little bit about that, and
talk
if
about
you
the
want to see a little
rapture.
bit more about my time.
Nobody
and
cares.
My 5K.
Nobody
go
cares.
check it out on my channel.
Nobody
You guys
cares.
already know. So we'll be live next Wednesday at 7:00, and we're out. I'm gonna go ahead and let these people go ahead and exit.
This is Flor Velasquez with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on all my social medias, Flor Velasquez Realtor. Till next Wednesday.
And I'm Nate Balderas with Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on Better Call Nate on all my social media outlets. Only try to find me if you're not easily offended.
You can go.
I didn't want to skip. But
Go, Andres.
Oh, you want me? Oh, you actually. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
I do not want you to find me online.
All right, Andres Castro here at Lionsgate Realty. You can find me on Instagram as Andres_2020. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Until next time.